that Paul?
Yes. Morning.
Hello. Morning.
Zach, Kristen. You see me?
All right.
Yeah,
is
we
that
can
your
see
screen,
your
Paul?
screen.
Is that your screen, Paul? Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Hey, Glenn.
How you doing, man? Good to see you, bud.
Good, thanks, man. Wow, there's a lot of people online today. A lot of people.
I tell you, it sounds like you're in a busy office there, man.
No, I'm in a coffee shop by the water on the coast.
Okay, got it.
That's one of the benefits of the how the company's set up.
Oh, for sure. Remote learning, you know, we can work from wherever the hell we want to be. So I get it, man. Very cool.
Man. I can show my videos and stuff, man. All right.
All right. Oh, there you are. You're on cam. Just stop you sharing for a minute so I can say good day. Oh, there he is. How you doing, man? There you go.
Hey, man. All right. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Paul.
Hi. Okay, cool. We've got quite a few people online today. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So I have the pleasure of introducing a good friend of ours, Glenn. Glenn Twiddle, undoubtedly one of the leading real estate trainers in the country. There's a picture of him and Arnold Schwarzenegger, his beautiful partner, Naomi. So Glenn's going to take us today through a training session. It's going to take us today through some of the stuff that's been happening in real estate, right, Glenn? Talking about things, and obviously Glenn runs a very successful training company, prospecting company. I have to disclose I'm one of his first clients, man. When he said he's been prospecting, I'm on board. That's another thing too. Obviously, you know, at Oxbridge, we don't just leave you to do your own stuff. We try to give you as much support as possible, and that's one of the things that we do. We're trying to help you prospect, do leads, close it themselves. But yeah, so I think this has been recorded. I will stay on the background. I'll let Glenn take over, and I think Kristen's also online as well. So any administrations, other things, going to put a hand up, and Christian will definitely ask you questions. Cool.
Perfect, man. All right. Well, let's get stuck into it. So Kent isn't on today, hey? Just give me a quick short back and sides. Kent's been kicking some ass, Paul. Yeah.
He has. Yeah, he's one of our top agents. He's doing really, really well. Kent's actually one of your students, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. If he was on, I'd be able to bounce a few examples, I suppose, off him. But that's all right.
Let me text him.
It's all good. Just if he is. If he's not, it's cool. Because again, well, one of my students, it's funny, man. I got my team sent me through a screenshot. Let me just share my screen. There we go. My main screen share. All right. Let me show you this. I just got this as a message from one of my clients. And let me show you this. This is some of the stuff we're going to go through today. All right. So this is a screenshot I got from one of my students. Have a look at this. Hello, Louisa. Louisa's our manager. I'm just flat out like a lizard drinking at the moment, and rest assured I'll get to this. However, you have done too much of a good job. I need to put on hold for the moment to catch up. What that means is that particular friend, client, etc., we generated too many listing opportunities and appraisals for her that after a very short period of time, she had to just say, hey, look, turn off the tap because I've got too much. I mean, how's that for a first world problem? I've got too many listings for me to bother with any more listings from you, Glenn. So pretty bloody cool thing. And she's been a client and friend for a couple of years. Kent's a bit newer into our world, and Paul as well. So, but still, it's pretty cool to be getting results that are getting rave reviews like that, even when they're slow down. I mean, how many real estate agents do you know? Tell me that would say, slow down the prospecting. We've got too much business. There's none. There's none. And so first world problems. So I'm liking that if we've got to have some problems within our business, I'll take that one, that it's working too bloody well. So, and so I saw Kent the other week on Facebook just mess around. I saw him just saying that he sold a house. And I just said, good job, man, you're on fire. Because he works in my old hometown of Ipswich. I grew up in Ipswich. First 30 years of my life, probably more, were in the farm area where Kent works. And So, of course, I take a keen interest in who's a top real estate agent there, and it's great to have Kent playing around in our world using this lead generation service. And yeah, so I was just congratulating him on a sale there at Coal Falls, and he said, "Yeah, man, that was one of the ones you got for us." And I'm like, "Beautiful," because think about what that does. Like you just got a $10,000-$15,000 commission, and because with you guys and your commission splits, it's really high. You get all the commission virtually, and so. What that means is anything he paid me, that one sale has covered that for like a year. And so all the rest of it's all his, and he doesn't have to prospect. So that's pretty good. So yeah, what we're going to do today, let's get into kind of what we're going to mess around with. Is I'm going to not because what Paul asked me to do is Paul asked me to, hey, that stuff you're doing for Kent, can you do it for all of our company? Because I've been talking with Paul for a period of time about what you guys are doing. I joined up as a member in the finance side of things. So I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing and the principles with which it's based on. And so I've been talking to like that back and forth for maybe a year now with Paul. And when Paul saw that the results we'd be getting for Kent, he said, hey, man, come and show the rest of our guys this. And by the way, let me have Naomi's number because I'm going to sign up. As Paul just said, he's now a client utilizing this outsourced service as well. So he said, come and show our guys what the service is. And I said, well, I'll do better than that. I'll show them, even if I'll give them some training. I'll give them some value. Even if they don't have us prospect for you, I'll give you some of the things to do if you generate your own leads, how to get maximum money out of the leads that you generate. Or if you did want to take us on board, the leads that we generate. Because there is more to it than just, like, it's not like I can do the listing presentations for you. It's not like I can, take a person who is going to sell in 2023 and force them to sell in 2021. So there's certain procedures and things that we do that when we get in a lead that isn't quite ready yet, there's certain things that we do in order to make sure that in 2022 July, a year from now, you get that $10,000, $15,000 and not your competitor. Because we've all had it. I've been a real estate agent. I've been a principal licensee. I'm 20 years in this business. And we've all had it that we prospected a person, we spoke to them and, we got on okay. And then 6 months later, a Remax sign goes up on the bloody thing or an LJ Hooker sign. You think, they told me they'd call me when they were ready. They don't care a flying, expletive about us. And they don't care about living up to any word they give us. The minute we position ourselves as a salesperson in that regard, they feel it's appropriate to lie to us, to let us down on their word, to tell us semi-truths and untruths. Like, we can't rely on them in any way because they aren't thinking about us and what we need and what we want, i.e. listings, for even 1 second of their day, not even for a second. So we need to make sure we've got systematic processes in place to force them to know who we are and that we're alive and that we're as committed to staying in touch with them as they would want us to be committed with the sale of their property. And that whereas what do they call it, like a pit bull with a bone, with them, the way they would want us to be with their potential buyers to get us top dollar. So, these are the principles that we need to have in mind when you're doing your prospecting, or if you're, I'd be honored if you wanted to outsource that to us. We'll certainly be available for us to do that. And Paul made us do a good deal for you guys as well, like I've been doing for my personal clients who pay me a fortune as a coach. Well, I've done them a deal where really I've taken any profit in that service down to negligible, like minimal. And Paul's asked me to do the same for you. So I'm offering you the same pricing structure that I offer for my closest in clients, just as a thank you for, Paul and my relationship and us doing some things together. I don't know if you saw, if any of you guys were at ARIC on the weekend last gone, there were some Glen Twiddle banners up amongst the Oxbridge ones. Well, you know what? If Paul's going to be good to me like this, I've absolutely got to be good to you guys on his behalf. So look, let's see what mischief we can get up to. And we are recording, so if you want to take notes, that's fine, of course. And but this recording will be made available to you. So if there's anything particularly, any script I give you that is particularly helpful, anything that I say that you want to review, then of course touch base with the team and grab yourself those recordings so you can learn the script off by heart. So you can, do whatever it is that you need to do to implement these systems into your business. So a lot of what I'm talking about today is a combination of this total Facebook success event that has been very popular in the real estate industry for the last couple of years. Let me just say it should have been popular for the last 8 years, but real estate agents, your competitors, haven't done the greatest job of keeping up with how powerful Facebook can be. So it's a combination of a few of the trainings that I do that are designed to sort of give you the overview of what either you should be doing within your real estate business or what we'll be doing in part, or in some cases in full, for you if you wanted to avail yourself of that opportunity. So for those of you guys who've never met me, I'm just going to do the mercifully short recap as to why you should hang for an hour, and let's see what we can see what trouble we can get into. So I'm known as a leading marketing coach in the Australian real estate space. So I don't really spend much time on listing presentations and how to do good open houses and how to do great negotiations, even though historically I've trained those things, because what I found was maybe about 10 years ago, the deficiency in the real estate businesses, most of them, was in getting to the front door, getting to the lounge room, getting to the kitchen table, not what to do from there on. The whole problem was more appraisals, more listing opportunities. So I focused all of my work on doing that. Now, where that says, well, the stuff I'm going to talk about sort of now, where I bring you up to speed a little bit, these are a bunch of my clients from years gone by, some current, some historic, and there's names like Matt Steinway and Tom Carlin and Chris Gilmore and some of the best $1 million agents from around the country. One of the things that you're going to want to do long-term, not short-term, is make yourself famous in your area. And that's something that I've done with all of these guys, is made them rock star famous, that they can't walk down the street in their area without people stopping them on the street and wanting to talk to them. And so there's some very real principles that we've done in order to do that. So I suppose the next thing is, don't be afraid to put your big goals out there. So I'm just going to run you through a lightning fast, bring you up to speed with who Glenn Twiddle is. I put a goal of mine out there in 2012 once. And that goal was, I was listening to a speaker of mine, and that goal, he asked a question, what would your goals be if you couldn't fail? And I made this slide. I just photoshopped it myself. As you can see, I'm not a very good photoshopper, but I made that slide. I said, imagine if at my event, Be Phenomenal, years from now, Arnold Schwarzenegger was headlining. How cool would that be? Because he's been my hero since I was a child. And, when doing the right things and putting the right principles in place, I hired him 2 years later. He came to my event. That's when I first met him in the car park there in Brisbane. That's us sitting around the table having a chat. That's of course my son, me, Arnold, his partner, the Altman brothers from $1 Million Listing. I don't know if you can see them on your screen, but on my screen, it's covered up. But there's Josh Altman, Matt Altman from $1 Million Listing. That's Arnold's manager and PA and sort of all-round legend, guy. And my partner Naomi, and there's us sitting around chatting, and he invited me to his house. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger's backyard over in LA that he invited me. I took some friends of mine. These are clients of mine from the Northern Territory. So that's us in Arnold's backyard. There's Tim Ferriss, 4-hour work week, 4-hour body. That's David Blaine, the magician. And so dream come true stuff. There's David, the magician again. I don't know if you know David, world famous magician. That's Don Cheadle, War Machine from the Avengers. That's Arnold and his 2 sons. That's Patrick and his fake son Glenn, his adopted son Glenn. So so it's been a dream come true. Arnold dragged me over to Gold's Gym to work out with him. He told me, hey, come to Gold's Gym next Tuesday. We're working out. I was in Brisbane at the time. I jumped on a plane and I was there 3 days later, and we worked out, we had a workout together. So we've had a great time, but it's not only been me. I've taken my friends, I've taken my clients. Of course, there's Naomi, my partner. There's us at Arnold's with Stallone. There's Stallone hitting on my girl. But this is a client of mine, Jared. Took Jared to my house to Arnold's house for a poker game. There's Jared winning a $30,000 watch for his wife, Soph. There's Jared knocking Don Cheadle out of a poker game at Arnold Schwarzenegger's house, right? You can see Don's none too happy. So I've taken my clients with me on this journey. Andrew G from Ride in Sydney. There's Arnold there's Andrew with the photo bomb of the year. There's Andrew, at Arnold's house when I took him with me with Jason Statham. So us just having a yarn, having a cigar there, it's been a wild, wild ride. I mean, there's the photo of the night, me, Arnold and Stallone, with all my heroes. And then after, I suppose, I realized what's possible. And I know, what's this got to do with lead generation? Only a little bit, but I do want you to know that you're in the hands of someone who isn't just talking his talk. The principles that I am going to share with you and the implementation of those principles are what has led to me hanging out with Richard Branson and hiring a billionaire for a day. I mean, how many of us on this call can say they had on their payroll for a day a billionaire in Sir Richard Branson? There's not too many in this country who have done that. And yet I've sort of done that because I set the goals and then I went about to achieve those goals. So that's me at the Vayner Media studios, the Vayner Media offices over in New York City with Gary Vaynerchuk. So I used to be a wrestler, and there's me wrestling with George St. Pierre, arguably the greatest wrestler of all time. It has been a dream come true that me and my clients, there's those same friends and clients, Jody and Adam from the Northern Territory, hanging out with Richard Branson, messing around, having some fun with Arnold, with Richard. And that's them saying thank you to me with see that Harley Davidson there? My clients bought that for me above and beyond fees, just to say thank you. So I wanted to show you that just because if they paid me well for the coaching services and then they thought that the right thing to do would be to shout me a Harley Davidson, then I think I'm doing a pretty good job. So you're in good hands with me. And again, the principle there is help enough people get what they want, you get everything you want. So that's true for me, and that's certainly true for you. And that's the so far list of people that I've worked with in my business in Australia, face to face, in coaching sessions, in mentoring sessions, in consultancy. These are the people that I've hung out with my students, and it's a who's who of success on planet Earth, and I'm honored to have done so. So let's talk about what that means for you. My job for them was to take them from a typical real estate agent and make them famous in their area. That's one of the things long-term that you should be aspiring to. That's not really what we're talking about here today, but that's one of the things you should be aspiring to. This is Christy Noble, one of my friends, one of my clients, and that was her when I met her, just a normal, typical agent. This was just part of the marketing arsenal that I made for her after, right? So what we've done effectively is we've made her famous in her area where everyone knows that face, knows that name, and the brand that she's with doesn't really matter. And that's a good thing because brand loyalty here in 2021 is virtually at a zero. So our job is to make you famous, get you on billboards, get you on. Another friend of mine, Victoria Nicholson, another client, get you on the side of a truck so that, and look, in no particular order, I'm not saying that's the first thing we or you should do, but I'm saying this is the sort of thing that we should be aspiring to long and medium term. And that's her texting me saying how much cash she'd made. She hit her 12-month goal in 3 months. So very nice. Anyway, let's get on to what this means for you. Right now, you're fighting a bunch of wars in the real estate business in 2021. I thought COVID was going to be a bigger problem than it was. That didn't turn out to be much of a problem at all. In fact, it put the real estate market on fire. So even that isn't one of the wars. War number one, though, is Facebook themselves are fighting us in a bunch of ways, which is because now we're talking about lead generation. And the primary way for you to generate leads outside of cold prospecting, which still works, it's just painful, it's slow, and it's hard. I didn't like it. That's why I learned how to be a marketer, because I hated prospecting. So outside of prospecting, Facebook has been my primary lead generation source for you guys for the last 3 or 4 years. And so Facebook themselves, though, right now are fighting us in a bunch of ways. You know, one of the warning signs is, remember not so long back when Mark, I say here, there's just a funny meme that I made, but everyone got logged out and then Facebook started banning people. They banned the President of the United States while he was sitting in office. They banned these 3 folks, I only know 2 of them, Alex Jones and Milo Yiannopoulos, and that lady there, all banned. So Facebook are fighting back, and they're being a pain in the butt with constant rule changes. If you break the rules, that it's hard to even know what the rules are, you can lose your account completely. All right. So constantly, this is a screen grab of WhatsApp I get messages from clients that just go, what's going on? You know, and then I say, all right, let me talk you through it. When have you got 10 minutes? So these are the sorts of things that Facebook themselves are being a pain in the butt with. Some of you might have seen recently, they updated Apple because Apple are now fighting with Facebook and we are the casualty. Right. So the official Facebook statement, Apple announced changes that will limit the amount of tracking that Facebook can do with its Pixel. And so various things on the net that used to be easy to sort of for us to manipulate for our business benefit aren't as easy anymore. So Apple are even fighting back. And I'm not going through all the nitty gritty here, but what it means is, this is how you users used to be able to opt out. You used to be able to go into the apps, go into the settings and find all of these settings so that, you know, Facebook can't follow you. And no one ever did it. Like no one ever did it. Now, when you install Facebook on an Apple phone, it says this: Facebook would like to get permission to track you across apps and other websites. So they reckon that about 25% of the people who get this message click allow tracking, and the rest say ask the app not to track. So it's massively impacted the way Facebook can work. So it's not all bad news, but what it does bring the necessity to is getting a few fundamentals 100% right. And we're going to go through a few of those here today. So you need to be utilizing your database now more than ever before. I think you guys are using Eagle, if I'm not mistaken. So you guys need to learn how to drive that sucker like you stole it, because you can still send out an email, and within the reports with Eagle software and all the CRMs, you can find out which of your database opened the email, which of your database clicked the link in the email. So for example, if you send out a listing to your email database, or you send out a bunch of listings, you can find out which listings, which people clicked on from your emails. All right. So imagine if you sent out 5 listings. Hey, this is this week's listings. Have a look. Wouldn't it be smart to follow up on the people who clicked 12 Smith Street and say, hey, Bob, I was thinking about you. You've been on my database for a while, and I really thought that I've got this listing at 12 Smith Street, and I wondered if that might be if you wanted to get through there and have a look. And then Bob's going to say, I can't believe you're calling, Glenn. Mate, I was just looking at that place. That's the high set place on Smith Street, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Oh, mate, it's like the universe is saying I should buy that. Yeah, let's get through it. It's not the universe. It's you knowing you're reporting and you knowing that he clicked on that listing and had a bit of a look at it. So those are the things that are still available, certainly. The next thing is, and look, it's just Homer got mad at his telly because it wasn't being funny enough. So he just whacked it on the TV. Because the other thing I wanted to say to a group of mine recently was, I wanted to say the other thing you've got to do better is you could be more good, right? Now, what I mean by that is all these changes highlight the importance of you doing good lead generation ads the first time around. All right. You need to get your copywriting, because you can say the same words, but use different, like you can give the same request. Hey, do you want an appraisal on the value of your home? And use different words and get a vastly different result. So you've got to now start to hone your copywriting chops now more than ever before. Sometimes one word difference can be the difference between a $40 per listing opportunity meeting and $120 per listing opportunity meeting, just by changing one word or one graphic or, so you've got to start getting good at copywriting, and creating graphical, attention-getting pictures and videos that cut through well, let me just show you visually. If I stop my share for a minute, we all have our phones. Some of you guys are watching on this phone. Look at that, Ray. Look at Ray's on his phone now while we're working. So everyone is living their life. Hey, Ray, how you doing, man? Everyone's living their life on these devices. And when we're on Facebook, which is our primary lead generation tool, we're just sitting there scrolling through. So you've got to have words and images that stop the scroll. Just in the same way, historically, you used to have words, images, and stuff in letterboxes to get them to not throw it away. You had to have good graphics and visuals on flyers to get them to not throw it straight in the wheelie bin. On newspaper ads to get them to stop turning the page. It's the same principles, just a new media. All right, so you've got to be better at that than ever before, or hire someone who is. And you guys have got the opportunity to get us wholesale if you wanted to hire us. So, I talk about these marketing triplets. Your message said to the right people through the right media. You get any one of them wrong, you can be in trouble. All right, so you've got to get better at all of this. Capturing that data for follow-up through your CRM and mastery of that CRM to maximize repeat and referral business. So the next war, that's just war number one, that Facebook are being a pain in the butt. War number two you're up against. Consumers with more knowledge wanting to pay you less, wanting to fight for your comms, wanting to, in America, not so much here yet, thank goodness, but in America, buyers are asking for part of the agent's comms. Buyers are asking for part of your comm for a referral. It's epidemic over there. We haven't really seen it here, but we have seen buyers forcing you to cut your fees to match your competitors. You've got other agents. You've got all these sorts of lead generation services, frankly, like mine, but instead of like the one that I'm doing, you've seen those ones. And look, there's a million of them, but Open Agent and, What Price My House and all of these things, many of them don't charge you just for the cost of doing business. They charge you a 20% commission on that. Like they'll charge you 20%. So when they give you one that, like Kent got one the other day, I think I did just see Kent join the meeting. Did I not? Did I see him? Yeah, Kent's on now. So Kent, that thing I was telling you guys about on Facebook the other day, where Kent got a sold property and he said, yeah, Glenn, that was one of your listings. Imagine if I was one of those other companies that have a different pricing structure, I would have charged Kent, 20% for that, for that one. Don't worry about the other 20 that I gave him that month, that I'm assuming I gave him, because that's our service, is we make sure our clients get a good solid 20 now, soon, or eventually clients for them to follow up with, some of which they'll list now, like Kent did. Kent listed and sold that one now. So what would have happened if I was one of those other services is Kent would have given me, say the commission was 10 grand, he'd have given me 2 grand now. Then when 10 more of those sold throughout the next year, he would have given me 2 grand every time if I had a pricing structure like some of those other guys. So, all of those guys are out there fighting for the attention of your consumers. So that's just another one of the problems, I guess, that you've got to come up with. We just talked about it in principle, the clutter and the noise. How noisy is social media? How noisy is the people's world? If I read this statistic, and I've read another one that said 30,000, but that we see tens of thousands of marketing pieces per day. I mean, look at your own email inbox. So we've got to cut through this mess in our lives. So I took this photo. This was off my kitchen bench. Here's all this junk mail. What odds has that got of cutting through all this mess? None. That's gone straight in the wheelie bin. So we've got to do a better job. And given that costs 20, 30 cents, and a good solid Facebook ad costs, we won't go through it, but costs 3 cents, then, at the most 3 cents, I've had it as cost as a low as a third of a cent, right, to 3 cents. We have to master this thing. All right. So war number 4. I mean, I know this, I'm not all doom and gloom, guys. I've got a solution for you, I promise. Now, this one almost works in your guys' favor. The old way of doing real estate is dead and it isn't coming back, meaning people aren't just going to Ray White because they've heard of Ray White or they've heard of LJ or they've heard of, and just saying to the receptionist, who you got on staff, I'll take anyone. they're not loyal to any brand anymore, and that works in your guys' favor. So I'll just admit, you guys did. Someone's just joining us late. Yeah, that works in your guys' favour at Oxbridge, because Oxbridge doesn't have a brand yet to be loyal to. It's a relatively company. Now, there's a bunch of experience in the company that you guys get to lean on, but luckily for you, people don't care about the brand. They're not loyal to the mainstay brands anymore, but you need to still build a personal brand like I showed you with Christy before, all right? Because they will be a person if they feel that you are the right agent for them. But, you know, everything that they used to do to get business when I entered real estate is becoming less and less effective. Gnomes, are you still, you're with us, aren't you, Naomi? Where's Gnomes? She was with us. I'm just going to ask her to unmute and turn on your cam.
Hi.
All right. Hey, Gnomes, turn on your cam for her.
Can you hear me?
Can you? Yeah, cool.
It is.
Hey.
It's on.
Now, I just got a notice that my internet was a bit dodged. Can you tell me, am I coming through okay?
Perfectly.
Okay, cool. All right, I'll get back to it, but it's good to know you're here because, guys, just everyone, meet Naomi. Naomi, everyone. Naomi is my business partner, my partner, and she is hands-on daily working with, you know, agents like Kent and, agents around the country in our lead generation service for us when we do these things for you. So again, I'm sure Kent has met Naomi, and I'm sure there's plenty more of you guys, if you do want to hang with us, who will eventually get to know this amazing woman firsthand. So cool. Thanks, No. So stick around, because if my internet is a little bit icky here, feel free to jump on and just take over where I left off.
The whole time. It's been perfect the whole time. No problems at all.
Oh, good. Cool. Alrighty, so the last war is just these, well, I sort of mentioned it before, these third-party lead generations and cost-cutting agents, and what we're left with is a perfect storm. So now, me and Gary Vaynerchuk, when we worked together in 2015, and then I brought him out to Australia in 2016, we were talking about this then, and so we were preparing our clients for the coming problem then. And this is what he said, that success isn't a random act, that you've got to make it happen. And there is no magic pill. It's a series of relatively complicated things. Now, most agents don't want to hear that, right? Most agents aren't willing to figure out a relatively complicated matrix, if you will, to be successful. But the biggest secret is the ability to turn marketing weapons into leads, hence into listings. So that's what we're going to sort of give you some of the highlights from, is that exact system that we've made for real estate agents and what that looks like. So one of the biggest principles, though, is the one that I alluded to, you know, when we were talking about Kent a moment ago, that sure, it is wonderful if in the early parts of any prospecting initiative that you embark on, any, you know, like in the case of Kent, any third-party lead generating service that you might employ, like ours or like any, it is all well and good to get a few early wins, because that helps pay for the investment. That helps pay for the thing that you've invested in. You know, if you do a flyer drop, something as simple as a flyer drop, sure, it's wonderful if you got a listing out of your 1,000 flyers that you dropped off. But all the money is in the, you know, in the ability for you to not only get one listing, but get 20 responses to whatever that marketing initiative that you might be, where one of them is a sale now. What about the 19 who are going to be a sale in the future? We call that the future bank. Now, I did a study with real estate agents getting on 10 years ago now, and it lasted for about 2 years, where we secret shopped real estate agents at open houses. And we secret shopped them with this script. It wasn't even me. I didn't do any of them. I did one over here in WA, because most agents didn't know me over here in WA. I was driving past an open house. I did one over here in WA. Oh, I'm not in WA at the moment, but I live in WA now. I'm in New South Wales at the moment. But so I did one. 149 of them were done by 35 to 45-year-old ladies secret shoppers, my PA at the time, my partner at the time, etc. And this was the script. Hey, we're not buying, we're just having a look. We've got a house down the road and we're just checking out prices. Now, if I couldn't more overtly hand you a potential listing opportunity than a script where I say, I'm not buying, I'm just here to have a look and check out prices, I live down the road, I don't know how much more I could hand it to you. Out of 150 agents that we secret shopped, 109 made 0 follow-up attempts whatsoever. 2/3 of our industry, if this is the ideal relationship model, right, the ideal customer relationship model, 2/3 of our industry did not get to contact number 1. 41 out of 150 even followed up in any way, shape, or form. Whereas all the magic happens way after 12 contacts. It happens after lots of contact, So what we need to do is we need to, yes, pick that lowest hanging fruit and use that to pay the bills in the here and now. But all the money is in the future bank. So I need you to understand the difference between salad and rubbish. It's all about the timing. I mentioned this before, that if you get a lead from someone who your copywriting is good enough, your graphical design is good enough that you can get that person into your world now, but they're not selling for 2 years, you need to take the timing in place. You need to take this principle in place, and you need to stay in touch with them well for 2 years so that they call you in and only you. Now, think about this, though. The beauty of those future bank leads are you've been following them up for 2 years. They're more than likely only going to call you in. They're going to be more likely to pay your fee, right? So you'll be uncontested. They'll pay your fee. They'll pay whatever marketing investment you recommend, because in that 2 years, you've seduced them into trusting you. So understand that is so important. Whereas the now seller, you've got to be better in every way to get the now seller, because the now seller may not have met you yet. So we need to not only tolerate the future bank, we need to understand that that's where all the money is. When you nurture that lead correctly with multimedia, meaning you don't just follow them up every fortnight, you send them an SMS after you meet them, then you phone them and you say, hey, is there anything else I can help you with? No, we'll still keep thinking about it. We're a couple of years off yet. Then you send them a text in 2 weeks saying, it was great to meet you. Let me know if you need anything. I'm here for you. Then 3 weeks later, they get a letter from you in the mail with a little article with a Post-it note on it saying, hey, I thought you might like this, etc., etc. They get followed up well with multimedia in place and some automation that EagleSoft can automate if you follow my first piece of advice and learn your CRM and drive it well. And those leads, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of leads, say in any given month you get 20 appraisals, but only 2 of them sell in the short term, kind of now or soon. Well, that's 18 more people that you've met, you've communicated with, you've made an impact with, you've followed them up for years, not in an annoying way, but in a relatively consistent multimedia follow-up sequence. If you can't win those listings, then there's something very, very wrong. And I'm not just saying this hypothetically, I'm saying this because that is the principles with which we've built countless multi-million-dollar agents across Australia and an uncountable number of agents earning nice 6-figure incomes, because that's what they want to earn. They want a life and still earn a nice multiple 6-figure income. Not everyone wants to give their life for $1.5 million income, and that's okay too, but know that all the money is in the future bank. And when you get that person and you make that impact with them, that is like $10,000. And the only variable is you staying in touch, all right? So I can't drive that home enough. That's why we designed this entire matrix of branded opportunities, right? So there's branded marketing weaponry. There's countless ones of them that we've got in our arsenal. There's direct response opportunities, right? So that's things like cold calls, lead generation websites, agent prospecting. That's our lead generation service, our prospecting service that we use. That's letters, that's door knocking, right? So that's direct response. And social media And so all of those things, though, they all lead to a permission to drop off what we call a property price report. Now, a fancy name for just a CMA. We make it look a bit better. We make it look more valuable, but that all of those things lead to one door where we've got a script to get them to accept a property price report. Then on that phone call or at the front door, we figure out, are they a quick checkup on price appraisal that needs to be followed up for however long? Or are they a listing opportunity? Are they a genuine appraisal that needs a pre-listing kit, that needs all those goodies? All right. So then, various things go on. We made a whole flow chart based on this. We made a whole system. So, but for today, we're really just talking about some direct response tactics, getting into a front door and meeting a person and ascertaining whether they are a checkup on price appraisal that needs following up until they need you, at which time it becomes a genuine appraisal that gets a full listing kit and all of that stuff. Or is it now a full listing opportunity? That's really all we can hope to even start covering in one session today, because that's a year-long worth of implementation of systematic processes to get everything right here and all the way through to a well-systemized real estate business. So a few tips. We don't call them free appraisals. All right. So there's a reason we call them property price reports, because for Kent, I'm sure we've already done this for you. We make these for our clients, right? So we'll get your photo and we'll make a very quality cover for your CMA that gets nicely bound so that the consumers out there feel like these things are worth more, right? Because if you just do an RP data printout and send that around, or even worse, email it, they value it. Well, you think about it. How much do you value someone emailing you a PDF? You delete it the minute you glance at it. Whereas a nice, high-quality book with that as a cover, with recommended retail price, $199 on it, that has the chance of getting into the living room, especially if you deliver it with the drop-off script that I'll get to if I get the chance, how we drop these off at the front door and what we say. So once you've got your... now, this next session, I'm not going to go through it entirely. I'm just going to say, you want to know how much you want to earn, what this exercise is that I'm not going to go through, but this exercise is taking what you want to earn and turning it into how many appraisals you need on any given year to make your goal happen. So the quick version is, if you want to screenshot that, that's what you do. How much do you want to earn? Results in how much do you need in GCI? Break that down. How many sales do you need? Based on your percentages, how many listings do you need to make those sales happen, to make that GCI happen, that makes that money to you happen? How many listing opportunities do you need to get those listings? Because you don't win them all. You can't win them all. You can win most, but you can't win them all. And how many checkup on price appraisals do you need to affect those listing opportunities? All right, so screenshot that or check this out in the report. We're 45 minutes into the recording. So check at the 45-minute mark and get that right. That way you can come up with, for example, and these are just example numbers, and this is, of course, in a company where they're on a 60-40 split. So if they want 300 grand, they need to earn 500 in GCI. We know that's not the case for you guys. Let me just view this waiting room and admit the guys. There we go. All right, cool. So that's just an example. But what we get here, and yours might be different. You might only need to do 180 property price report drop-offs to get the listing presentations you need, to get the listings you need, etc. But once you've got your number, that way we could know in an example week how you're going. Like, say you needed to do 20 PPR in an example month, say you needed to do, I don't know, 30 PPR, or in this case, let's say you needed to do 60. Say we're at the 28th of the month, and in your month for your numbers, you needed to do 60 property price reports to get however many listing opportunities, et cetera, in your business, and you're only at 59. You know you need to spend the next day getting another property price report, and the rest will handle itself. And from those four numbers, property price reports, listing opportunities, listings to sales, we can know the state of your entire business. The point that I'm going through there, that I haven't gone through well, right? That normally takes me 3/4 of an hour to go through with a team to go through that know your numbers exercise, right? But the outcome of that you need to do in your own time, when you wake up, you need to know precisely they call it a KPI, the key performance indicator, the metric, the dollar productive single activity that needs to happen today that you cannot go to bed before it happens. I've had a bunch of my students say that is to deliver 1 PPR a day, right? 1 PPR every working day of their business. I know a few of my students with their goals, that's their KPI. So if they have gotten to noon, like it is now, and they haven't yet delivered a PPR and they haven't got one booked, they need to do, by any means necessary, whatever they can do to get a PPR drop off that day. And we know from their numbers that if they can do that on a daily basis, each and every day, then the unthinkable goal that they set at the start of the year that they thought, oh my God, that's an impossible mountain to climb, is broken down to an actual, doable, achievable outcome that they can do. So we need to have tools and weapons to be able to do that. Let me just give you a quick rundown before we get into that flow chart on maybe what some of those tools and weapons are. Prospecting, it's not my favorite, but if you're sitting there at noon and you need to get a PPR done that day and you haven't got marketing systems that are generating enough to get you your 1 property price report request per client per day, you're going to need to get on the phone or go knock on the door with some good quality scripts that get you your permission to drop off a property price report so you can start that process. Unfortunately, now we want to be looking forward to the day when your marketing systems hand that to you, when you have people phoning you in multiple times a day, and that isn't what's the word? It isn't a pipe dream. You saw, if you guys have been on this whole training, you saw that screenshot that I showed you from Tanya up north, where she had to turn off her marketing system because she had too many listings, right? She'd exceeded her goals. Her lifestyle was being impacted. She didn't want to work that hard. So she said, turn off the marketing. Something that I would guess very few agents in this entire country ever get the problem of. Too much work, too much business, too much success, too many commissions. So, all right. So cold calls is one. Door knocks is another. Facebook lead generation is another, but that won't get you a lead now, here and now. But that's the one that I want you to kind of perfect, because I tell you, whenever I don't make I've never cold called any one of you guys, never once. I've put my marketing in place. So in your guys' case specifically, Paul fell across my marketing, right? Dr. Paul fell across my marketing and he saw it as impact making and he thought, Jesus Christ, if this guy can be this prevalent and this everywhere with his online marketing, I better get this guy into our world so I can not only, learn some things from him personally, but I can introduce him to my guys so they can learn some things. So the way I do my prospecting, if you will, I don't prospect, I market and I put my stuff in your way. So I target you very well. And then those out of the 40,000 real estate agents in Australia, only the 2,000, 3,000 a year that like what they see bother contacting me. And then only maybe 500 a year pay me to be their coach. And some people pay me $4,000 a year for sort of distance education. Some people pay me $60,000 a year for me to do it one-on-one like this every fortnight, every month. And sometimes I go to their offices and sometimes it's Zoom or whatever. But my top fee is $65,000 a month, $60,000 a year. And so I don't need everyone in that 40,000 to love me, but I have deal flow enough that my investments in marketing generate me enough leads to feed a multi-million-dollar coaching business. And those same principles are true for you. Short term, yes, you can prospect, and there are some scripts. Okay, let me role play with someone. Is there anyone in here who's not a listing and selling real estate agent? Who's not? If not, unmute yourself. Anyone, or is everyone an agent?
I'm not.
Oh, who have I got there? Just unmute if you could. Who is that?
I'm in support. I'm
Okay,
the
cool.
host.
Yeah, cool. Can you unmute and chuck on a cam, or have you not got one?
I don't have a cam, no.
Oh, bugger. All right. So verbally, we're going to role play. All right. This won't be as good as if I can see you and all of that. But hey, let me ask you: do you own your place, or are you currently sort of renting or living with parents, or because I can't even see your age? So
Hang on. Let me just quickly set up my cam.
okay. Here I am saying
There we
might
go.
still be living with parents, and you might be 80 for all I know. I don't know. So let me ask you this: you do look younger, and I don't know how young that is, but have you got your own place, or are you still sort of living like a young person normally does?
I did have my own place, but currently living with in-laws because of COVID.
Oh, really? Okay. So you had a place. Did you sell it or?
No, it was renting as well, but the place that I was working at during COVID shut down, so we all kind of
Okay.
scattered away.
Understood. Understood. So we might even just play, given that we're talking. Your parents own a place, yeah? Where are they?
Beenleigh.
Oh, they've Beenleigh, my old stomping grounds. I used to be Brisbane boy myself. I was Ipswich and Beenleigh. Yeah, I know it very, very well.
Yeah.
Okay, so cool. Since COVID, let me ask you this. Have your parents kind of paid a valuer or got a economist in, or a valuer is normally the one that does this sort of thing. Have they got a valuation to see since COVID started what all this craziness has done to the value of their place?
No, they haven't actually.
Okay, because you know those, and look, not everyone has, because those things
Yeah.
cost $500 or $600. I understand. I actually know a bloke who works down in Beenleigh. What I'm going to do for you is I'm going to get, and it won't cost you a penny, right? Because there is no chance that what your parents thought they were sitting on pre-COVID, that place is worth the same as it is. Like, they literally don't know what their biggest asset is in this world. They don't know what it's worth, because there has been some areas that COVID decimated, but a bunch of areas, including Beenleigh, that COVID has nicely impacted, funnily enough, to the tune of, it could even be a surprising percentage. So what I'm going to do is, for no cost, I'm just going to get you a report of everything that's sold during the COVID period and what's also on the market right now. That way your parents will know at least ballpark what COVID has done to what their primary assets worth. And it won't cost you anything. It's just my way of saying thanks for, kind of hanging out and taking my call here today. So how would I best to get that for them? Should I drop it round, or could I get it to you and you could drop it round? Or how would be a great way to get it to you?
I can drop it to them.
Where are you? Are you in Beenleigh as well?
I'm in Coomera.
Okay, so you could drop it to them. Okay, cool. Now, it is a physical report that they don't let me email because it's got people's private data on it. It's thousands of dollars these reports cost. So where are you for the next, say, 3 hours? Like, are you going to be there where you are for the next 3 hours?
Be here,
cool.
yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll just drop it around to you. I just have to put it in your hand, then I'll get the hell out of there. And yeah, look, with my courtesy, it's just our way of giving back, because, So, all right, break role play now. Now, by the way, actually, you know what? That shouldn't be role play. Any of you guys who are here in Oxbridge, who are in Beenleigh, should deliver a property price report to this. What was your name, ma'am? Sorry.
Bethany.
Bethany. You should deliver a property price report to Bethany. If you're in the Gold Coast, Northern Gold Coast, southern suburbs of Brisbane, you should be delivering Bethany's parents a property price report. Why? Don't assume that you won't be the agent that Bethany's parents choose if you do a good job. So I just generated a lead for you. Now, your parents aren't selling. Of course they're not, right? Yeah. What are the odds that Bethany's parents are selling right now? The odds are thousands to one, right? That I just chose Bethany as a random. But in the next 7 years, the statistics say that Bethany's parents will be. And at that time, you know what? Even if they do know a real estate agent already, your job is to seduce them away from whoever they would have sold with, and seduce Bethany's parents into selling with you. And don't assume that just because Bethany works for Oxbridge, they're going to go to Bethany and say, oh, who you got in Beenleigh, Bethany? Because Bethany's their little girl. So understand that despite everything that you may know, believe me, my parents, I'm the guy they wipe their butt. They don't sit there and think of me. They would never pay me 60 grand a year for the stuff that comes out of my mouth in a million years, because I'm too close. Now, if you've been in real estate for a period of time, as I have, we all know that a listing has come up with someone that we assume absolutely would have listed with us, but didn't. So for someone of you guys here on this call, I would be contacting Bethany or texting her now and saying, hey, what's the address? And as soon as we're off this call, you should be delivering that property price report to Bethany with your compliments, well designed, well bound, so it looks good. Don't ask for a darn thing. You heard the way I framed it. It's just a CMA with a list of the properties with all the graphs or whatever as what has happened to property prices in Beenleigh, so Bethany's parents have a clue as to what their property is worth. That's it. No, do you want to sell? No, now I've got a bit of a follow-up sequence as to what you can say at the front door, and I hope I get a chance to go through that. You know what, if you stick around, because I'm sort of almost at my time, so what I'll do is I'll finish up, and I'll just share with you what Paul asked me to share with you, which was how we can prospect for you. But after I've done that, and it'll only take me 5 minutes, I'll go through what you should say, whoever that is, at the front door to ascertain the time frame that Bethany's parents might be utilizing with which to sell. You'll find out if they're a 7-year seller, if they'll drag me out of here in a pine box person, or if they're a next year person, or whatever the case may be. So I'll give you all of that. But what I just went through with you there, and you guys got now as a recording, was what I call my by any means necessary script. Now, we don't often lead with that script. That's the one if you desperately need an appraisal now, today. Like you saw, the language that I used with Bethany wasn't random. It was highly honed so that she didn't have the opportunity to say, no, thanks, I'm not interested. The minute she said that her parents did not get a valuation on their property since COVID, every word after that was a foregone conclusion that I knew that was going to be a PPR drop-off. And if you watch back on the recording and analyze the words I say, the way I say them, the assumptive closes that I make, where I make statements that you sort of think are questions but aren't, like, works every time. Or it works way more than this. Hey, Bethany, do you want an appraisal on your home? How about mum and dad? Do they want an appraisal? You will get 99 no's out of 100. Right? So understand your language and your words are important, and so that's the first asset, or that's a nice asset to have in your repertoire, is the by any means necessary script. So so these are sort of all of the scripts and things that we have for our clients, that when we bring in a lead, okay, we've got an automated SMS that goes out. We send out SMS 1. And then based on what lead they are, because in our lead generation system, we ask them, are they a 0 to 3 month selling lead? Are they a 3 to 6? Are they a 6 or more? And so it's different scripts and different texts and different things to be done based on what they tell us about where they're at in the process. So what happens if they don't answer the phone? What happens if they don't answer the SMS? What happens if it's a wrong email? Here's the SMS scripts and things that are all tweakable and changeable, of course, but we want to leave nothing to chance. We want to give you all these flowcharts, all these phone scripts and everything. And certainly what I'm going to go with you after we talk a little bit about the prospecting service that we've got is I'll try and give you some of the scripts into the property price report drop off. And what I'll do is I'll stop the recording at that time. Then I'll restart the recording, so you've got that drop-off procedure as a standalone process for you to go through. So that's the process that we'll go through after what we quickly talk about, which is the lead generation system. Oh, these are okay. So these are those. This is the thing I told you about at the start, where I saw this on Facebook. I saw a whole bunch of people congratulating Kent, which was wonderful. And I just said, I'm fine, my man, because I wanted to congratulate my mate Kent, who did a good job. And then there's what Kent said. Thanks, Glenn. This was one of your leads. So that was pretty cool. And I think, Kent did jump on. Kent, do you want to jump on and say good day? I don't know if you've got a cam or anything, man. Let me just see if he can. I've asked him to start video. Let's see if he can jump on. Maybe not. Oh, there he is. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I've just been sneezing my head off. But anyway.
How's the hometown, brother? Is it cold?
It was a bit cool this morning. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I was still up at 5 a.m.
I don't know if my internet's... Oh, good job, bro. Nice. Hey, give us the short version. Your internet's a little dodgy, or maybe mine is. Give us a short version of how the service has been sort of working for you.
It's been good. Yeah, it's been good. So 6 listings. It's total 65,000 in commission.
Liking that. Holy shit.
So I think we started in September.
Nice, man. So that's more than paid for the service, and now everything's cream. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice, man. And so all I would say to you is, Bud, and we sort of swapped a few messages on Facebook. So one way or the other now, my advice to you, Bud, is work on that branding stuff so that we get you as famous as historically June Frank was. As historically, I had, you know, because Susie Nehemiah was a client of mine, that branding and positioning that she got when she was sort of number one, that was, we need to sort of get that in place. Now, she's sort of semi-retired now. Actually, I've heard she's back. I don't even know, but I'm not working with her anymore. So that means the title is up for grabs for Ipswich's gun. So, mate, you know, all the other stuff that we talk about in branding, personal branding, that's your next mission. Is you've got a good lead generation system that is what we call self-liquidating, meaning it's paying for himself with profit. And all that future bank money is still coming. So if you've been going for, you know, months and months, that means you've got hundreds of leads in your follow-up sequence in the future bank. That's millions of dollars. Bank that. You've got that system sorted. Now those other branding systems and things. So, yeah, Very cool, man. All right, man. Thanks for jumping on, bro. Let me just show these guys what craziness you sort of signed up for, you know. So for those of you guys just jumping on, this is that other client from ours up in Townsville that actually asked us. Hello, Louisa. That's my Facebook manager who manages the whole thing. And she's got a team of about maybe 10 people in her, telemarketers and Facebook experts and all of these things. But Louisa's the boss. Flat out like a lizard drinking. Rest assured, I'll get back to this. However, you've done too much of a good job. Need to put it on hold for the moment to catch up. What that meant is, because we spoke to her, what's going on? Too many listings going on, too much work, too much business. Love that. So here's the sort of the brass nuts. We have a series of telemarketers that we have trained in all of my scripts with which to generate you all the leads you need to fuel your goals. In an affordable manner. We have Facebook experts who, that way you don't have to do the learning curve of learning how to prospect on Facebook and do all the lead generation. It's like, instead of you learning it, or instead of you teaching your PA how to do it, because if that was the case, you'd have to learn it first, you'd have to practice it and perfect it, then you'd have to teach a PA to do it, then you'd have to pay that PA 40 grand a year to do it. Well, don't worry about all that. Just hire my PAs at an affordable rate and let them do it for you. Hire my telemarketers because you don't want to do your telemarketing any more than I did, and let my telemarketers do it for you. So as you can imagine, like if you did your prospecting yourself, the leads would be a mix of people selling now, people selling soon, and people selling in the future. So like Kent's doing, he's probably averaging a listing that sells every month or so. So he's got, 65 grand in comms from his $1,000 odd bucks a month investment. So he's way in front in the short term, and he's still got millions of dollars in the future bank of people that he's met as part of that. That's exactly how it should work. So out of the 20 leads, and it's different from area to area, you'll find some that are selling now, some that are selling soon, and probably half that are selling 6 months or more, right? And Kent's just sort of shown us that. But it's designed for us to do your prospecting for you. It's consisted of us doing all of the Facebook stuff. So doing everything with the ads, with the lead forms, with the conversion style adverts. So what that means is, let me just go to it. Some of the ads we drive to an external website, in this case, Real Estate Experts, and then that generates our leads for us. And then we have a full concierge for you that sends your leads to you. All right. So whether they opt in through here or whether they come through our Facebook ad efforts or whatever, all you get is the name, email address, phone number, how long before they're selling. Like, you just get the result. You don't have to worry about any of that other stuff. But I just wanted to share with you how we do it. So we do it through Facebook lead generation in an area specific manner, meaning we don't take on clients like Kent. Like we won't take on one of Kent's competitors, right? I know I've got some clients that just keep us going because they've got all the listings they want. They barely even want any more. They just keep our service going to keep fueling their future bank. And so their competitor doesn't get us. So that's pretty cool. We'll take it. So we do some Facebook lead generation on Facebook. We do some where we drive them off site, but know that we pay for all of those Facebook ads. Like it's on us. Kent doesn't get a bill from us and a bill from Facebook. No, it's all included. We pay Kent's Facebook bill for him. We have a full team focused on your lead generation. It's like you've hired half a dozen lead generation part-time folks, and the results that half a dozen folks gives you is an appraisal every working day or so, right, of varying quality. And the bill you get is what one of those part-timers would probably charge you in a wage. So a couple $100 a week. So, and that includes the wages that I have to pay for telemarketers, meaning you give us your list and we make telemarketing calls for you, varying scripts. Of course, the main script we try and get is a highly, because we always go for the listing opportunity if it's there, right? We try to get you a full appraisal with a pre-listing kit, with all of those things, with a sit-down meeting, a proper appraisal. But not everyone, as you can imagine, in your area, in fact, most people, 99% of people in your area, have no interest in a full appraisal. So the drop down we do is get you permission to drop off a property price report. But remember, hand deliver it. It is so important to make that impact on them. I can't stress this enough. You need to get that property price report face-to-face delivered to them so that they can see that Kent is a nice guy, so they can see that he's not a typical commission breath smelling real estate douchebag like most of them are. Now, say that with respect. Most real estate agents, most of your competitors smell desperate. So what we need to do when Kent delivers the property price report, or when whoever's in Beanley is going to deliver Bethany's parents' property price report, you need to not smell like a typical real estate agent that they're scared of, right? They don't like typical real estate agents. So it's important that we hand deliver it. And we give you full training in what to do with these leads in a far more in-depth way than we've talked about here today. So we'll design your property price report cover, right? Remember I showed you those property price reports, those things there. We design one of them for you. That's all part of the deal. You will not receive a graphic design bill. It'll be your branding, your personal brand, your corporate brand, however you want it to look. You'll get one of those, so that you can make these things look $1 million. You'll get full training on what to do when the leads come in, flowchart, scripts, the steps, everything. Plus, you'll get check-ins from our team, like a concierge call, where they'll call you every fortnight just to say, hey, how's it going? And you'll be able to tell them. And in fact, they'll be checking in with you daily, delivering you the leads, but there'll be a no agenda check-in every fortnight, every week, whatever's needed, just to say, hey, how's it going? You know, how the leads going. And if you said to them, oh yeah, say it was Kent, and he said, yeah, all the leads are coming in from Toowoomba, man. Well, we're not going to accept that. We're going to say, hey, Kent, next time you get 2 or 3 in a row that come from out of your area, let us know then. And then we will replace those leads for free, meaning we will get you some Ipswich leads for free, or whatever your area is. We will get you the appropriate leads. You will receive no other bill, but we're just going to make sure, like a staff member would. A staff member is going to check in with the boss and say, hey, how'd you go with those appraisals? You know, did you meet them? Did you deliver the report? You know, am I doing a good job, boss? Well, that's what we're going to do every week for you. We're going to say, hey, Kent, are we doing a good job, boss? You know, and we've just employed another staff member because we've had a few of my clients take us up on this service. We needed a brand new staff member to just help us with that, because we were able to do it monthly. Well, we want to do it fortnightly. So that's another staff member for you. And weekly reports on how many leads were created for you. So literally we are the staff member that I always wished I had, because I paid my last lead generating, appraisal generating assistant that I employed when I was a listing and selling real estate agent and principal licensee. He was $42,000 a year. And I reckon he got me 2 or 3 appraisals a week. this system is the service I wish existed back then but didn't. So what you need to commit to, though, is follow the system that we've sort of talked about in embryo here today. Follow up the leads and put them in the CRM, and don't give up on a lead if they don't, fall over right now and, like a boxer in a fixed fight. Understand that they're not. Some of them are going to take more work than others. Some of them are going to need a little bit of follow-up. Some of them are going to need a good quality listing presentation for you to win. Some of them are going to need proof. Some of them are going to need to think about it. Don't just give up. If every lead we send you doesn't just say, oh, wow, okay, send around a Form 6. You know what I mean? You still got to do the job of a real estate agent. This is the prospecting part of it done for you. The outcome is list what you can list, as Kent has done, and, put yourself a few bucks in your pocket, of course, but it's about creating a relationship so that in the future, that 65 grand that Kent's already earned, he might have paid, 10 or 15 grand or something and put 65 in his pocket. Sure, that's a nice profit. That is nothing compared to the millions of dollars in the future bank that he already has in his CRM. And the only variable is maintain that relationship until they need a real estate agent. That's it. So you'll give us your cold calling list. Now it says there we do not want your database, but we've got some clients that actually want us to call from their database. We've got one client who wants us to refresh his database, pull out any leads that we can out of his database for appraisals now, but he wants us to just check and update phone numbers and email addresses. So cool. So we can use your database if you want, but you can just give us your RP data, your price finder list. And if the quality of that list doesn't get us the results that we need, because some areas are better than others in RP data and price finder and all those things, we've got a list broker that can get you some high quality data for cold calls. And I know Paul's even got some data generating activities as well that he might be able to get them. And then if you don't want to make those calls, to the degree that you need to, then you could certainly utilize that data, any data you want, as long as we can talk to a person who owns a piece of property in your area. That's all we need. But we do have a list broker in the event that you don't have enough phone numbers for our telemarketers to call. So the cost for our full system at 20 guaranteed leads per month, meaning sometimes we lose money on our clients because it costs us more than $300 a week to generate the leads that are in wages and in Facebook ads and all of the costs that we incur to do this for you. Sometimes it costs us more than we charge you. That's why I've said to Naomi, we are going to be putting the price up on this to somewhere in the vicinity of $1,800, maybe $2,000 a month, because many months there's no profit in this system for us, because I didn't design it to be profitable for me. I designed it to help my clients out who didn't want to learn Facebook or who hated making cold calls, right? So the pricing that we've got for you here is barely covering the cost of us doing business. And so that's, but that's guaranteed. If I have to lose money in order to get you your 20 leads, appraisal leads per month, I will lose money in order to get you your 20 a month. And Paul did ask me to do, we've never done this for any other company before. Paul did ask me to do a more affordable version if you needed it. And that's 12 leads per month at half price. So it's $660. We've never taken on anyone on that capacity before. So if you aren't yet in a position where you could afford a part-time staff member at $300 a week, because that's what the full system is, at $1,300 a month, it's equivalent to a part-time at $300 a week-ish, $325 a week. So if you're not in a position to take on a part-timer, even though for that one part-time wage, you're getting me and my team in your business doing your prospecting for you, then look, halve it. So we'll do 12 leads a month at half the price. Let's get you a few bucks in the coffers. And then if ever you wanted to bump it up to the full system, then you could do so. Just do know that at the full system, and I think that was it. Okay, so this is the website to get it, agentprospecting.com.au/Oxbridge. Let me show you what that looks like. It looks like this, agentprospecting.com.au/Oxbridge. All right, don't worry about that stuff on the end. That's the URL. All right. Now, at that URL, This is the full system. Just click that. This is the 12, the half price system. Oh, there you go. It's even cheaper. There you go. So you've got a 10% discount between the slide and here. So that's the Oxbridge deal. This link isn't available to anyone but you guys. But if you just want to have a chat to Naomi, if you click this, it'll bring up Naomi's calendar. This is next Monday. She reserved the whole day for you guys. So it is there ready for you to talk to her basically the whole day. We only opened that up this morning. So to have a chat, you just click on that one. If you want to ask any questions that I haven't answered in thoroughly. But if you know you're in, based on what you've seen, that's the full system at 1,300. That's the half system at 650. Now, the one thing I just wanted to say, the half system, we don't have any guarantee of not taking on, like if you're the full system, we don't take on your competitor, right? In your area, in your suburb, none of your competitors have access to our service. Kent, none of your competitors have access to our service. If you go on the half price deal, I can't reserve your suburb because there's so many more appraisals that are there that I could have someone on the full system and you at the same time. All right. So to get the area exclusivity, you got to be on the full system, but the half system's okay. You still get the same amount of leads, but I just can't guarantee that I can't just take your suburb off the market like I do with Kent or like I do with our other full service. So yeah, so look, that's the way to kind of do it. And that's at agentprospecting.com.au/Oxbridge, and you choose the full, the half, or the let's talk. Now, just to sort of let you know, there's no lock-in contract for a year or anything. There's none of that. You just got to give us 30 days notice, right? You just got to give us 30 days notice, which means, you know, it's a 2-month minimum, right? Because by the time you try us out for a month, if you decide it's not for you, you got some leads in that, but it's not for you, I'm not going to want to be in a marriage that you don't want to be in. So understand we're not locking you into anything. Just give us 30 days notice. And yeah, other than that, there's no weasel clauses. There's nothing more fancy than that. It's just, we'll become your prospecting department. And, you know, I love that you've already got proof in the pudding because you've got a few Oxbridge members that are already clients. So what I'll do is I will stick around. It's getting on 2 o'clock. What I'm going to do is, guys, that thing that I promised you, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to stick around and take some questions from you if you've got any. But that thing that I promised you, which was the steps to do at the front door. All right. This, I know Naomi is on here now. So Gnomes, if you could find the maximum impact PPR drop-off system with all of the steps at the front door, if you could find a recording of that, of what to do at the front door that will ascertain whether, you know, in the case of Bethany, in the case of, you know, this is the thing you'd be saying, this is step 3 that you would just quit. This process takes no more than 30 seconds to 2 minutes. But one of the questions you're going to ask is, how long do you think this place that you got here at Bean Lee would suit the growing, changing needs of yourself, your family, whatever the case may be? Just if you had to guess, just for my statistics and research. So we've got an hour-longish training on all of this stuff. Naomi's going to get that to Paul and Bethany so that you can just touch base with Dr. Paul or whomever it is. We'll get that training module to you, that full module. That way I don't have to rush. And I can, you know, you'll get the full training in its entirety. And I can take any questions you've got now. So if you want to say them, unmute yourself and say good day. Or if you want to type them in the, Kent is just saying, if you want to type in the chat any questions, I can stick around and answer any for a minute. Kent just typed, wow, that's awesome, man. He had to compete against June Frank to get that listing that he got. Now, June Frank, when I was a teenager, was the dominant force in Ipswich real estate. She's let that title go, Kent. I'm sure you know that she is not as dominant as she once was. So that title is up for grabs. But congratulations to you, mate, for beating someone who's got a 30-year history in the industry and used to be everywhere. Your job now, Kent, is to replicate what she did, but instead of her doing it in the Advertiser and the Queensland Times and things like that, your job is to do it on social media. And, mate, adopt the June Frank mantle. And yeah, so and man, we've spoken about it. If you need any help with that, mate, just give us a yell and we'll talk further. So any questions, just chuck them in the chat. Otherwise, Dr. Paul, if you want to jump back on and sort of, if you've got any questions or if summarize that, and we'll get you guys the hell out of here and get you back to work. Hope that was of some help. So yeah, not looking like the chat's going bananas. So I'll just sign off. Stafford is saying thanks, Glenn. Kind regards. My pleasure, Stafford. Hope that was helpful. And do that website again if you needed it was agentprospecting.com.au/Oxbridge. So and that's to just have a chat. There you go. That's just to have a chat or again sign up for either the full program or the half program. So all right, and Naomi has just put the link in the chat, although it doesn't seem that it's clickable, Gnomes. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it needs the HTTP or something. But all right, so check in your chat. There's the link. Beautiful. The link is now clickable in the chat. If you are watching the recording here at Oxbridge, I'll leave that up for the time being, and I'll only take it down if ever the pricing changes or anything. But you will be locked into, I have no, with this upcoming price increase for the general public, 1,800, 2,000, whatever that's going to be, you guys are grandfathered in that you guys will not, you will always get whatever my clients are paying. Now, in the unlikely event that the wages 3 years from now or the Facebook cost per lead just gets insane, I'll call you, we'll talk about it. I will not jack the price on you unless I tell you why, show you why, because the cost per lead's gone from $45 to $95 or something, and we'll talk about it, But yeah, you're locking yourselves in on this pricing. So yeah, that's so if you're watching this on the recording, let's just have a yarn and we'll give you the update on what's changed since you watched this recording. All right, so on that note, everyone, hope that was helpful. And Dr. Paul, thank you for having me, my man. If he's still on with us or he had to take off.
Yeah, he got kicked out not too long ago.
He's a busy dude.
He is. But thank you for that, Glenn. We really do appreciate it. And taking time out of your day.
It's all good. And I really hope someone does take me up on that advice to do one for your parents, because here's the thing. Let me just give you a quick story for those of you guys who are sticking around for a minute. I had a client student who in her head would have absolutely assumed if ever I was going to sell, I would have sold with her because she was 2 or 3 suburbs away, but somewhat in the location. But technically, I didn't see her as an expert in my area. Now, luckily for her, I was in a house where I was one of those, they'll drag me out of here in a pine box vendors. You know the ones, they're never moving. Within a year, my relationship broke down and I was selling that house. Luckily for her, she did an appraisal for me. And I won't go into the whole story as to why, but it was something like this demo that we did now. But instead of treating me like I would have just listed with her regardless, she treated me like a prospect and she wore me down. She gave me her full follow-up system in its entirety. A year later, I sold with her and gave her a commission check for $12,000 or whatever it was, $14,000 to sell my house for me. And she doesn't even know that that commission wouldn't necessarily have gone to her if there was someone else who specialized in my area. Just like, if someone at Oxbridge does work Southern Brisbane or Northern Gold Coast, they might assume that anyone's parents in Oxbridge's head office would sell with them. Don't be so sure. It's your job to seduce and wear down Bethany's parents with your friendliness, with your knowledge, with your humanity, with your real, raw, authentic self. It's your job to take that lead that I generated for you here on this call, and that Bethany, that was, even though that was a role play, that was still very, very real. And Bethany's going to give you permission to take a report around to her parents. And heaven forbid, it is valuable information that if they haven't had a valuation, they should know what COVID's done to their house. I bet you it's bumped it by a few percent, probably maybe 15 to 20. Who knows? But that's your job, is to tell Bethany's parents what's happened. So, all right. Thanks, Bethany, and thanks all. Hope that was helpful. Stephanie in the chat, thank you very much. I appreciate you hanging out and stuff. And yeah, we'll chat to, I'm sure, some of you guys real soon. All right, gang. Bye for now.
Thank you.
No worries, guys. Bye.